Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare
Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome back to the ongoing extravaganza and marathon known as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Divine Sankirtan Movement. Please accept my obeisances. Vanchakalpadabhrischa kripasinabhevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who inspired the whole world and specifically inspired those who wanted to use their lives to do good for others, to go out and give people transcendental knowledge. Dasa Prabhu, you can't hear? Anukul Seva, can you hear?
Yes, Maharaj, loud and clear.
Okay. Dasa Prabhu is indicating that he couldn't hear.
I can work with him on the chat.
Unless it's an Italian thing, like it's Italian. He can't hear, you better work with him.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. So welcome back, everybody. And Krishna, a few years ago, revealed to us that we had a golden opportunity before us for a long time. That is Bhadra Purnima, the date upon which the Srimad-Bhagavatam says that if you give the gift of Srimad-Bhagavatam, then the person giving gets the benefit of going back home, back to Godhead. That's quite compelling. And simultaneously, it's part of our mission. Something Srila Prabhupada was keen on was making sure that the whole Srimad Bhagavatam was available to the world. So through the principles of organization and working together as a team, the vision is that we'll be able to scale up book distribution on a global level, all of us working together, so that we'll be able to realize larger and larger capacity every single year. So we're testing that each year. And of course, when we do so, we have to depend on the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that's what keeps us alive. Because actually, we're not doing anything. We're the instruments. And if we keep ourselves open to the ways in which Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, if you just sincerely try, then I'll help you. For instance, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paripasate Tesham Nityapti Yuktanam Yogakshema Mahamyaham. In the Gita, Krishna says, I'll back you up. If you just invest your consciousness in me without any dependence on any other outside force, I'll take care of you. And especially this applies in the arena of book distribution. We can't create waves, but we can learn how to ride them. And the more expert we get at riding them, the more we can get out of it. So the purpose of our meeting now is to regather our energies toward this point in time, which is authorized point in time. It's Bhadra Purnima. Not only is it in the Shastra, but it's also something, or rather a point in time, that's been widely accepted all over our Krishna consciousness movement. There's consensus amongst the devotees in the executive branch, the GBC, the GDOs, the Minister of Book Distribution, all the way through the temple presidents, all around the world, the Sankirtan devotees. And last year, we had an extraordinary success. So now this year, we intend to build on that success. That is, we found that there's a lot more capacity around the world. Just looking at the maps is quite inspiring because you see a lot of open area. And even looking at the percentages of communities that were able to participate last year, we see more and more capacity as well. So one of the topics we'll be discussing today is ways in which to take advantage of places where there's more capacity, and innovating this year to expand our overall capacity. My father used to take our family camping, backpacking into the wilderness. And when we were getting ready to go, he had this mantra that is, if you take care of the ounces, then the pounds will take care of themselves. Prema, did you get that? If you take care of the ounces, then the pounds will take care of themselves. It means take advantage of every little opportunity that you could find, and the big opportunities will then manifest, or the bigger picture will fill in. Or as they say in Japanese, chiri motsumareba yamatanaru, which means that, hey, Mohini Murti, was that all right? Chiri motsumareba yamatanaru means, why don't you say what it means?
Small buses.
Oh, I can't hear you very well. Try again.
Little work, but continuous, so coming big.
Yeah. And literally, like little grains of sand or dust, if you keep adding them, then they add up to a mountain, grows into a mountain. So this is the opportunity that we have. We've been given this legacy to carry on of book distribution. It's Prabhupada's idea that he got from his spiritual master. So this is fresh out of the parampara, right into our hands. One of the other reasons that we're doing this is book distribution is a pathway to developing spontaneous love for Krishna. There's a way in which the exercise of going out to meet people and give them the opportunity to take to Krishna consciousness purifies us. I mean, one point is that to be up for this service, we have to ourselves be engrossed fully in hearing and chanting. Otherwise, what would be our inspiration to give it to others if we're not tasting it ourselves? And meanwhile, while we're meeting people, we also have to be aware, and we become more and more aware in the practice, how Krishna is within everyone's heart. And he's sitting there guiding every living entity. And also we get feedback from our environment. When we go out into the great unknown, known as the public, anything can happen. And we have to follow the instructions that Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita to be tolerant. And we have to learn how to deal with all kinds of situations that come up on their own accord. And so it's a very practical way, and also a speedy way, that devotees can become purified and come up to higher levels of devotional service. And we talked about previously that the idea of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was that this distribution of transcendental knowledge is very much in line with the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is in the mood of the gopis of Vrindavan. That is, that bringing everybody closer to Krishna. And the way that he Srila Prabhupada, expressed it was that this is actually the same path of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the spontaneous devotees in Vrindavan, the book distribution, the Sankirtan. So we can know for sure that this is a highly authorized service. It's unassailable, actually. And not only that, it's effective. Those who receive the Srimad-Bhagavatam in their homes are never the same. Once somebody commits to taking a Srimad-Bhagavatam set, they've taken a big step in surrendering to Krishna. Have you noticed that? That's just the act of taking the books into their house means that they have to accommodate the books. They have to put them in a place where they can sit on the shelf and take up space in their homes. And it means they're accepting Krishna into their house. And what to speak of those who start to read the Srimad-Bhagavatam? Sometimes it takes them a while to start to read it because they're so busy in their lives and they're at first perhaps unaware of the benefits of hearing Srimad-Bhagavatam. But as they gradually take to the process of hearing and chanting, then they too come in harmony with the vibration of the spiritual world. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin prati shlokam abadyavatyapi namanyanantasya yashon kitaniyat shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadhava. This is Narada Muni in the Srimad-Bhagavatam 5th chapter. And he says that this vibration of the Srimad-Bhagavatam is a different creation altogether. It doesn't come from this world, which is a relief, isn't it? Because all the vibrations that come from this world are very predictable and absolutely boring. People try to get a little taste out of them going to rock and roll concerts and have to turn the music really, really loud. And they sort of have some nostalgia. Oh, I know that song. But meanwhile, the musicians all grow old and decrepit. And after a while, it degrades into all kinds of materialistic activities that come from this material sound and trying to relish the sound and the culture behind it. But in the Bhagavatam, we're taking sound, or receiving sound rather, from the spiritual world and respecting it, submissively taking it into our lives. So it says, Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo. There's a 180-degree turn in our lives when we take that sound vibration of the Bhagavatam. Viplava means that the material conception of life is flipped, and we start to connect with the spiritual world. And the Srimad-Bhagavatam is readily accepted by those who have a little spark of desire to understand the spiritual world. So it's good for the individuals, it's good for the distributors, and it's good for the Krishna consciousness movement. Because as Prabhupada said many times, and as I cited in the book called Our Family Business, there's a way in which our Krishna consciousness movement is based on transcendental literature. Without the transcendental literature, what would we have? And that's why Srila Prabhupada took so much effort to make sure that these books were available. And it's miraculous what he did. Even as he was traveling and managing an entire movement, he every day painstakingly took time to sit and dictate and write and oversee the publishing of his books. So when we take up this effort of book distribution, we're giving a foundation to the Krishna consciousness movement. It's in the 7 purposes. Who knows which of the 7 purposes, in the 7 purposes, Srila Prabhupada mentions book distribution? Which is it? There's a quiz.
The 7th.
Correct. Very good. Who was that? Damodar Smarana?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Very good, Damodar Smarana.
Jai.
It's number 7. I mean, think of it. Prabhupada had 7, and Prema got it too. I didn't see the thumb at first. I thought he said 6, but okay, so there's 7 purposes. 7 purposes altogether. And he said the 7th is to publish and distribute books and periodicals, magazines, in order to achieve the aforementioned purposes. I'll give my interpretation of this, and that is that we're a preaching, a teaching movement. Preaching is life. Finding ways to give transcendental knowledge to others is real life in Krishna consciousness, and it's the life of our movement. And the aforementioned, that means the first 6 of the purposes, are there so that we can manage the results of this, the 7th. Management is meant to manage preaching. So when you go out and tell people, hey, you should be a devotee, you should chant Hare Krishna, then they'll say, how do I do it? And I need a little support. And where do I go? And to answer those requests, we have to have places where they can come. We have to have an infrastructure so we can follow up with people. And so all of the 7 purposes go together. However, the 7th has a unique place. We've been calling it, and will continue to until somebody tries to stop us, the tip of the spear. If we look at our movement as a spear to penetrate deeply into the kingdom of Maya and give people the opportunity to take to Krishna consciousness, then the tip of that spear, the sharp point, the effective aspect of our movement is the literature and its distribution. It's highly effective. And I've made this case before about the pen is mightier than the sword, and that is that systematic distribution of books and literatures changes individual hearts and society in general. And therefore it's a good strategy also for changing the world, for inculcating Krishna consciousness into the world scene. And it is a way in which we can affect change in the world. There are many problems in the world due to everyone being out of balance with Krishna's laws. There are environmental problems, there are political problems, there are mental health problems. We could list hundreds of problems that people have that arise from being out of alignment with the principles of the Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada wrote about this in his foreword to the Srimad-Bhagavatam in his introduction. He was just saying that although the world is not isolated anymore, people have full facility. You can get whatever you want right now. If you just get on Amazon Prime and push a few buttons, you can get anything delivered to your door within a few hours. But still people aren't happy. That should make us happy, Amazon Prime, actually. We should be fully satisfied by now that you can get anything you want, but still, are you happy? No. People are beyond just not being happy. They're actually agitated and disturbed in many different ways. So what is the answer? The answer is Srimad-Bhagavatam. And how can we be a part of this? We can deliver the Srimad-Bhagavatam. We can innovate. We can use all the entrepreneurial impulses that we have, channel them into distribution of Bhagavatam. We can use every technological means that's available elsewhere to distribute, what do people buy on Amazon? Brushes and something to take care of your nails, because you got to take care of your nails. And these are there are millions of items just to take care of your nails and your hair. But what about the Atma? So we should use the same technological means that people are using to sell things that are just meant to take care of their hair. We should do it for the Bhagavatam. And we shouldn't be shy about it either. We should use whatever resources we can come up with. That is, any kind of technological means that we can find to spread the Bhagavatam, we should use it. And whatever ways we can devise to communicate with people so they understand the importance of the message, we should use it. This is Yukta Vairagya. Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjita nirbandha krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagya muchate prapanchikataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshabi parityagyo vairagyam palgukatyate. If we leave anything behind, if we don't use everything, this is called imperfect renunciation. So this is the highest type of renunciation, using everything that's available in the world right now, today, to spread the message of Srimad-Bhagavatam. I'll just paint a scenario for you. We all go together, all of us here on this call today and those who are listening later, and we visit Srila Prabhupada, and we present to him this prospect of expanding the distribution of his Srimad-Bhagavatams. Last year, we distributed over 20,000 sets of Srimad-Bhagavatam. That's a lot of books, actually. And then we tell Prabhupada, we want to increase it this year. Anukul Seva, what do you think that he would say?
Very good idea.
He would say, very good idea. He would encourage us to do so. He might also say, you should also read the Bhagavatam. So we should do both things. We celebrate the Bhagavatam by reading it and distributing it all over the world. So we can do this. Actually, we can scale up this book distribution every year. We can make it bigger, and we will find new pathways to do this. And it means being smart, working together, and sharing the best technologies with the common goal globally to expand our capacity. We want more and more capacity. And as we're doing that, we're going to also be adding value to the overall Krishna consciousness movement, because all the innovations, technologies that we discover and use in the practical ways that we're distributing Srimad-Bhagavatam will also export, will also lend to the overall Krishna consciousness movement in all its other aspects. Kotakarnava put double it. And that's something that Prabhupada said. He was always pushing for more. He would say double it. Malini Priti Devi Dasi says double it. Prema Sarovara, the highest type of renunciation, using everything that is available in the world, is to spread the message of Srimad-Bhagavatam. So we have this task at hand, and I'm absolutely thrilled to see all of you here today, to be with you, because what the biggest asset we have is our teamwork, and that we have a motivation to be unmotivated. And that is to continually come back to the idea that we're working together for the overall good of society and to fulfill the order of Srila Prabhupada's mission together. We don't need personal aggrandizement. We want to do this because it's the right thing to do. It's right as rain. So thank you very much, everybody, for your enthusiasm to be a part of this this movement, the book distribution movement that is taking root and spreading all over the world as it should. The other purpose of today's call is to launch. Today is the actual launch day of Bhadra Purnima. Every year, as we get more organized, we'll be able to decide what goals we're going to go for. We have to have a goal. In fact, when we don't have goals, when we don't have a clear goal to go for, life is rather boring. In fact, Prabhupada mentions it in the Bhagavad Gita, that it's for lack of a goal that people feel bewildered in life. So we have a clear goal to announce today after a lot of research into what actually happened last year, how many books were distributed. And we can surpass that this year. And part of it is because we realize there's a lot of unused capacity, and also because we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will back us up. And we're going to take this risk together, right? That we're going to say, we're doing this. We're going to start with that. And that is, we're going to assume that we can do it. And because we believe Lord Chaitanya will back us up. And then what's going to happen? We're going to say it together. We're going to do this. And then we're going to lose sleep over it. Just for a night, one night only. Don't worry, you can catch up later. Take a nap the next day. Because once we announce this, then the devotees on this call, like, we have devotees from all over the world, like in Israel now, Mohini Murti and her husband are there on the call. They checked in earlier. We have devotees from Malaysia, from Italy. We're in the USA. We're in Africa. Tirumala, one of the great heroes who emerged from the marathons during the pandemic, is on the call. Great warriors are on here. So all of us together are going to touch the pavement. We're going to put our foot down. Uruguay, Argentina, yes. Bangladesh. Hey, with Bangladesh and Canada on this team, how could we possibly not feel courage, the courage of a lion in our hearts? So that's what we're going to take. The courage of working together as one big team around the world to smash Maya hard and to work diligently to fulfill the desire of our Acharya. Our Acharya is Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And he has a very specific desire to see the Srimad-Bhagavatam go out to the world. We're going to fulfill that desire. And because of that, every single person who participates is going to receive the highest benediction from the spiritual world coming through the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. I guarantee you. And that's how spiritual life works. When you distinguish yourself by fulfilling the desire of the great Acharya, Acharyopasanam. We're in the Acharya system. We worship the Acharya. How do we worship? Not just with a few flowers, although that's important, you have to do it, but by the sweat of our brows, by putting ourselves in the game, by taking risk to absolutely go for the kinds of goals that Srila Prabhupada would want us to go. We can talk about it or we can go for it. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to announce the goals and the new branding. It's exciting and dynamic. And from today forward, after we announce this, everybody's free to get back into this mode of shooting for the goal for that will culminate on Bhadra Purnima. How does that sound, Tradas Prabhu? Yes. Okay. If you're speaking, you're on mute, Trey Prabhu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful. Sounds like Prabhupada would be very, very pleased. We couldn't imagine that 20,000 Srimad-Bhagavatam sets would go out. So now we're anxiously waiting to find out what the new goal is, so we can
Okay,
put
good.
our hearts and souls into that.
I'm building a little suspense that I hope.
know.
You see, everybody, please take a look. Tradas Prabhu started at the beginning of the book distribution movement in San Francisco. He was on the first traveling Sankirtan party that went out to distribute books under Keshava in San Francisco. And he's been doing it his whole life. And look at it. I don't know how old he is. He may be like 100 years old, but he looks like he's
70.
70. He looks like he's like 30 or something. So
Feel
great warriors are joining in. They'll come from other planets even to help with this Bhadra campaign. Thank you, Trey Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So let's take a look at some of the slides for today. And are your hearts beating that you're going to see the new goal and that you're going to lose sleep tonight and you don't mind? If you don't mind losing a little sleep for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, then stay on and stay focused. Otherwise, you go take a nap now. I'm just kidding. Okay, Anukul, do you want to run the slide deck? That way I don't have to touch any buttons. I start touching buttons, there could be problems.
Yes, Maharaj, I can run it and you can speak to them.
Okay. Well, since we have this is a teaser, or as we call sometimes a trailer, a video introducing a little bit of the branding for this new campaign. Let's roll it out. Haribol. Thanks to the design marketing team who put together the new branding. Let's go to the next slides. I'm going to show a few more. So this year, Bhadra 2021 is on September 20th. So that's the date you can tattoo. If you get a tattoo today, you can put it on your arm. September 20th is the date. And we're continuing with reminding the devotees that we have a destination in life, and that is going back to Goloka. Goloka namni nijadamni chale tatasya devi mahesha haridam suteshu teshu te prabhava nichaya vihitaschayena govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So there are graded realms. We're right now, I hate to break this to everybody, but we're in Devi Dham. Devi Dham, I don't know, not the best place to hang out. In fact, it's not recommended at all. Devi Dham that's the Mayak region. Somehow or other we're here, and now our great fortune is to help others get out of here, because Prabhupada helped us. And now we're going to help everybody else. And so this theme of, getting on an airline is not far-fetched. We know from the Bhagavatam, from Dhruva, we know from Briyat Bhagavatamrita, from Gopakumar and others, that there actually is a conveyance that comes and gets us. There's an Uber system from Goloka through which stop in, pick you up, take you back. So this theme, it's a reminder that we're going somewhere. We're leaving this realm. We're going to the higher realm. How do we do that? Through Srimad-Bhagavatam. It's there in the Shastra that by hearing this vibration, we'll come into tune with the spiritual world, and we'll actually go there. And what to speak of giving it to others. So this is everyone getting ready to board the flight with the Srimad-Bhagavatam. And this theme of Bhadra Purnima being a kind of ticket. Of course, we have to, whoever takes to Krishna consciousness really has to go through the process. It's not, we don't want to, project that, oh yes, all you have to do is this, and then you can do whatever you want, it doesn't matter. However, it is an opportunity. By giving the set of Srimad-Bhagavatam, it is there in Shastra, and we're playing on that to emphasize how important it is. The Bhagavatam presents that to show how important it is to give this to others. And we cannot deny that the benediction is there in writing in Sanskrit. So we're using that, as we do in book distribution, to market this idea that everyone should get involved. Everyone should try to give away at least one set of Srimad-Bhagavatams during this time. It's a ticket. That's probably the tattoo right there. You can do just the 20.09.21 or the whole thing here if you have more time. So September 20th, mark it. And here's a look at some numbers. 2018 was the first year. And we were a little bit plateaued down there until the benediction of the COVID pandemic took place, which was a time that in an uncanny way, we were able to come together, gather our energies. And it was a time for heroism and great efforts together to push back and do what we could. So there was a great increase, and we can measure or say how we got these increases. It was through cooperation. It was through mass communication. It was through networking and looking at a common goal together. That's why we're very confident that we can do it again. It's not that it was a fluke. There was no smoke and mirrors. There was no fake numbers. We got to the bottom of everything to make sure that it was all real, so that we're not building on sand. It's real. And we can build further from there. We can increase. That was a big increase for 2020. It's a high level. So let's look at the next slide. The Bhadra goal for 2021, we set at 25,000. And there's a caveat, and that is that we're shooting for the day itself. And that is all the way from now, this very second that you see the goal, until the day of Bhadra, September 20th. We're going to work within that time period to achieve this goal of 25,000. Not only is it achievable, but it's also possible to smash this goal. And it's nice to be able to smash it. So we found that it's set at a good level, that it's going to be an opportunity for all all of the leaders all over around the world, not just the ones on this call, to step up, but also to become very aware of the importance of this. So the goal is there, and it's right there in front of us. It's well considered, and we can do this. If you think it's a good idea and you want to take a risk, please go to your reactions button and put a thumbs up. I'm putting one right now. And I'm wondering how you feel, because I can tell you how I feel. Let's go in the Zoom room just for a second. As soon as I saw that goal, it was an automatic, it wasn't, hey, Prema's already got the tattoo. Very good. You can use a Sharpie if you want. Don't do it, I'm just kidding. When I saw that goal, as soon as I saw it, it was almost like an involuntary reaction. You know, my heart's beating, I'm breathing, these are going on involuntarily. So when I saw the goal involuntarily, I can attest that my mind started thinking, how am I going to contribute to this? What part of this can I do? And I also was thinking, 25,000 is not that much compared to the size of our team around the world. It's really not that much if we divide it up all over the world. I think, Malini, you wanted to say a few things. I'd like to hear your reaction, because you have a lot of skin in the game. You know, you've sacrificed a lot of sleep. And so as Sri Krishna Purushottam out here, we'll hear from the two of you. What's your reaction seeing the goal, 25,000? How do you feel?
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All Shri Prabhupada. So the first thing I thought was, if it is 25,000, how much should we do? And I started calculating the numbers within my mind. And then I felt that, how are we going to achieve it? Then I started praying, I don't know what to do. Please help. But it really felt really exciting to hear it is 25,000. And then we have to do a lot of work now, and we should get started right away.
Okay, so the first thing is you started calculating in your head, how much should we do? Second thing you said is you started praying. So I want to give a reminder to how the Krishna conscious movement got started in the first place. And that is by Advaita Acharya's and Thakur Haridasa's prayers. They just prayed and prayed. I mean, it's a simple thing. Advaita Acharya figured out that the Lord likes Tulsi leaves and Ganga water offered together. So he started offering those and saying, please help us, please come down and help. This is a transcendental movement. Make no mistake about it. We employ all kinds of calculations and modern techniques for marketing, but it is a transcendental process through which we have to pray hard. And that's one of the points here. We got to put our full hearts and souls into this. And not because it's a magic number. It's what it will make of us to achieve this together. What will it make of us to actually step up and everyone do what they can, full capacity to reach it? Let's hear what Sri Krishna Purushottam thought when he saw the number.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances.
Krishna,
I think when we have this goal of having 25 sets of Bhagavatams, maybe 8 years ago in our temple, Prabhu, you mentioned we thought how we can do it, this 25 sets, because at the time we used to do book packs, like, Bhagavad Gita's like that. So, but every year in the same situation, Prabhu, we think that we cannot, it's a huge number of goal, but last 2 weeks or two months, as you mentioned all the time, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will back us up, and then that will happen. And also we have to pray hard, Prabhu, when we distribute Srimad-Bhagavatams, especially. At the end of the day, we go house to house, or now virtual Zoom lands. We can distribute more Bhagavatams just by praying to Mahaprabhu. So, thank you.
So thank you very much. And this is a good reminder to look back in the history of your progression in your own teams and see what happened. So you might remember a time when 25, as Sri Krishna Purushottam's Prabhu is remembering, 25 sets was a big number. And now regularly, the devotees on the local team are doing way more than that. They're doing hundreds and thousands of sets. So what happened? You know, some people say it's hard to chant one round, and then you see them later and they're chanting 16 rounds. What happened? It's all the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's hear from Divyanam Prabhu. I noticed a particular look in his eye, and it's very encouraging. I can see from your countenance.
Hare Krishna
that
Maharaj,
you are
my
being
obeisances,
thankful.
all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
My obeisances to everybody. I think, Maharaj, 25,000 seems like a very nice number to achieve, Maharaj. Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu and myself, we've been discussing what does the future for Europe looks like for this year, and UK especially. So, and I don't know till when this strategy will last, but we are still praying and wanting to double. Our goal last year was 500 for Europe. We will confirm the goal soon, probably in next couple of weeks, but we are looking at just doubling and going 1,000 Maharaj for Europe, having spoken to some of the leaders. And we thought, let's see, because if it has happened last year, it can happen this year again. And we've had a very recent success under the leadership of Vrindavan Chand Prabhu. We just wanted to distribute 158 CC sets. Last year we did about 70, and we landed up doing 243 Chaitanya Charitamrita sets just in probably 10 to 12 days, Maharaj, in ramp up to Gaur Purnima. And that showed us that it is very much possible till the time we can double up. So this year we are praying to double up our number from 500 to 1,000 for Europe, Maharaj, but we will confirm the exact number to the central team in the next couple of weeks, Maharaj.
Okay, yes, and these are some important points coming out from Divyanam Prabhu, and that is that, you know, we announce a global goal, but then past that, there are individual local goals that you have to set. And sometimes what happens is when there's change, and when you introduce bigger goals, everybody else has to go through the same changes we're going through right now. So make sure when you introduce your local goals that you employ change management to help people understand, why is it we set a goal? Is it arbitrary? Did we just make something up, or did we calculate very carefully? And also, why is it possible, and why should we do it in the first place? All these are internal points that we have to make to the people we're working with locally in order to make it successful. Divyanam Prabhu.
Yes, Maharaj. Just one point. The way we are looking at the goal is slightly different this year, apart from just the number, is to try to reach out to more parts of the European countries and involve more temples, everybody doing a little bit, and that way working towards that goal, Maharaj. Because what we really felt is, for the first time last year, we felt the Europe is coming together as a part of the global team, and there are many things we can start to do. And now recently I've connected with a couple of temples around monthly Sankirtan festival, and there is a great team spirit, and devotees who got involved are also encouraging and inspiring other local temples, actually. So that's why we have a faith that 1,000 number does seems realistic, especially as we're looking to expand and involve many other temples across Europe, Maharaj, and senior leadership here as well. So
I'm convinced.
Thank you, Maharaj.
You've already started your campaign, but I'm convinced. I have full faith that you can do 1,000. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please empower the UK European team to do at least 1,000 sets of Srimad-Bhagavatam by September 20th for Bhadra. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Okay, we have Gopal Champu Prabhu, who is now leaning hard into New York City, which could possibly do 25,000 sets just themselves. What have you to say here, Gopal?
Hare Krishna. Prabhupada. So over the last few days, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just over the last few days, I usually on a daily basis try to read a little of Prabhupada's letters or something like that on book distribution. So I keep this book by my desk if you want to please me. And just over the last few days, a common topic that I've been seeing in Prabhupada's letters was how much keen he would see to look at universities and libraries. So, as the 25,000 number came up, I just did a quick Google search about how many public libraries are in the world. And there's actually 230,000 according to Google. So I was just thinking, I mean, we could put a Bhagavatam set in every single library in the world. Why not?
Well, who had that project? I think it should have some name and form. Since you brought it up, it's now in the ether. It's a thing. It exists now. So now we need to organize it and manage it. So Anukul Seva, if you'll nail that down, and Gopal Champu, you can help us brainstorm who can draw up a strategic plan. We need a team that would get behind that and make sure that every single library in the world gets at least contacted to see if we can get in there with a set of Bhagavatams. We definitely have people that can, that have the tenacity to do such things. And that's a good service. If you could go out of this world having contacted every library, that would be good. Thank you very much, Gopal Champu Prabhu. Just seeing you gives us a courage that we're going to smash the goal. Okay, Braj Mohan. We can't hear you. Something's wrong with your audio. Maybe,
Can you hear me?
yes, go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, this time my goal for Bhadra Purnima is over 60 or 70. And also, this time as it is 125 Vyas Puja of Srila Prabhupada, I have took a sankalpa of distributing 125 Prabhupada Leelamrits.
Jai. Very good, Braj Mohan.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Keep up the good work.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Now we have the inimitable Sarva Lakshan Prabhu from Pune. Pune has become one of the biggest of all the distributing temples around the world. They have Sarva Lakshan Prabhu, and of course, the incomparable Radhesham, who's a veritable generating powerhouse for bhakti in the world. Just by his walking the earth, the bhakti movement is spreading all over the world. So now we're going to hear from Sarva Lakshan Prabhu what he thought of when he saw the 25,000 goal.
Hare Krishna to all the devotees. By the blessings of all the devotees, last year we could distribute more than 4,000 4,900 Srimad Bhagavatams total. So we this year also, last year we distributed 4,900 something. It was around 20% of the total distribution. So this year also we are trying to distribute more than 5,000 sets for this Bhadra Purnima camp. And yes.
Please continue.
Yeah, Braj Mohan came to our Pune temple. Within one day, he distributed more than 65 Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita set. So I told Braj Mohan Prabhu after Srimad-Bhagavatam class, I requested Braj Mohan Prabhu to come to come near Vyasasana, and he spoke about Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And one Mataji, she got very much inspired, and she immediately donated 11,000 rupees. And he gave it to me, and he told that please engage this Lakshmi for book distribution. So then we engaged that 11,000, and by his endeavor, at the end of the day, we distributed more than 65 sets of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita on the day of Nityananta Ekadeshi. So it was Brajmohan. We can understand by a small boy can distribute 65 Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita at one day. It was amazing actually. And not only that, this year during marathon book distribution, and we distributed more than 4 lakh books together. And this actually it is very nice to hear from His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu. Well in advance, they have team very nicely. They are coordinating, and well in advance they have announced Bhadra Purnima. We have sufficient time, and this year we are celebrating Srila Prabhupada's Vyas Puja, 125th Vyas Puja. Each and every devotee, even if they distribute 125 Srimad-Bhagavatam sets, we can easily distribute. Like our Brajmohan has target of distributing 125 Srimad-Bhagavatam sets. So thank you very much for the blessings of all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Sarva. We're all eyes will be on you and Pune and Braj Mohan Prabhu, because you make up a huge percentage of the distribution there. You have big capacity because you have well-organized program there. And now let's move over to Malini Preeti. She's all over the place, on every call, all over the internet. Chaitanya Charitamritas, Bhagavatams, everything going out. She's emerged. Leaders emerge during these times when we have big pushes for marathons. That's how we get leaders in the Krishna conscious movement, is by having a mission to achieve and goals to shoot for. Otherwise, there's no reason to lead because there's nowhere to lead. So Malini Preeti stepped forward in a big way and become highly visible in the book distribution movement. What are you feeling? What's your reaction to the 25,000?
Hare Krishna, Vaisesika Prabhu, please accept my respectful obeisances. Hare Krishna to all the devotees. For me, I was thinking that when you announced that the goal, it would be double. So when I thought that 25,000, it is something that is achievable. Last year, Malaysia, we did we worked towards the Bhadra only towards about a few weeks before the Bhadra campaign. It was in the month of August, and we set the goal at 108, and then we achieved 121 sets of Srimad-Bhagavatam by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Sri Guru. And of course, everything is, we had a lot of guidance from you. I was very happy that we had so much guidance from you, Prabhu, one of my greatest inspirational leaders. So this year I have to speak to Chiranjiva Prabhu, Simeswar Prabhu, and to see how we can, what are the goals that can we work on. And I have to speak to them and see how we can get to how we can work for Bhadra this year. I had like a great experience with the Be a Gardener campaign. I think you were emphasizing how much prayers was important, how much one should pray so intensely to Lord Chaitanya. And I felt the bliss, like every time, like when you were saying that, like every day I was working how to get somebody to get the Chaitanya Charitamrita set. And this time I also had the opportunity to distribute to even people who are beginners. So I had the chance of distributing 10 CC sets for the Be a Gardener campaign. So I think the same, like how you advised us, how you should pray very intensely to Lord Chaitanya, like how the prayers of Advaita Acharya, like how we should pray very intensely. So like that, we should keep that in our mind always and pray very intensely and work towards the goal.
Yes, I like what you said about how now you have to have a conversation locally to see how we can do this. And these are the kind of conversations we want to be having in our Krishna consciousness movement. that it's a very progressive conversation, breaking the news. Yes, 25,000 is the goal. How are we going to do our part? Everybody has to look carefully and see how are we going to organize. And again, every part of the world has different circumstances. And so, the numbers can be high, medium, low, whatever it appears they are. The main point is capacity. How much capacity can we develop? And that takes internal preaching as well as external, not just selling Bhagavatams to people outside our circle, but we also have to inculcate this message to those within our circle. We have Sri Ram Prabhu, who has, over the last decade, distinguished himself in India as one of the great organizers of the Indian Sankirtan Leaders Team, works very closely with Bhima Prabhu in India, and I saw him a second ago. There he is. Sri Ram Prabhu, so much is hanging on your, what you say and what you're feeling. So tell us what your thoughts are with the 25,000.
Prabhu, that after the marathon, there was a goal to get the MSF monthly Sankirtan festival. And there's a lot of momentum in India. By all your push and mercy, a lot of temples in India could join the MSF very nicely. So I think devotees got some good taste how to involve and go to door, and they're gearing up with this, becoming a nice Sankirtan devotee. That was the whole MSF was been designed, and still the MSF is still in the plan. And we have temples who is planning for next 6 to 8 months. That's a very plus for our movement. We want more devotees to join the Sankirtan mission. If with this mindset, like everybody doing little and participating in this campaign, I feel 25,000 is much doable. I saw the numbers of the temples who have done. It's very encouraging, because if you see the numbers, actual numbers from BBT, devotees have done a lot. So I feel we started this campaign much earlier this time. That's a very plus this time. And having these regular calls and signing up from the different temples across India, we can definitely smash this goal. With all your strong mercy, I think it will happen. And Bhima Prabhu is really behind it. Last time we have Jiptak Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Maharaj. There is a very strong push from them that to get our goals done. I feel the same momentum happening in India, starting with MSF. I think this momentum will catch up to get our Bhadra and marathon this year. So yes, Prabhu, it's all as a one team. How we are pushing for the Sankirtan mission, anything can happen.
Thank you very much, Sri Ram Prabhu. In the investment world, we have the Dow Jones Industrial. It's an index that tells how the markets of the world are moving. And similarly, what we're doing here, a little survey of the different leaders from around the world. This is our Dow Jones Industrial, to understand the trend, which way we're moving for book distribution, and how we're going to be able to smash this goal of 25,000 by September 20th. One of the devotees that's become an emerged leader amidst all of these marathons and campaigns in many different ways, creatively and also in organization, is from Africa. One of the, it's a huge prospect, Africa, because what could be done on that continent alone could dwarf the whole world, actually. And so here's one of our leaders, Tirumala Mataji is here with us. So let's hear from her, please.
Hi, Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I definitely think that I agree with you. There's a lot that can be done in Africa. I think that there's a lot more potential. Last year was the first time that we distributed a total of 134 Bhagavatam sets, but for us that was something that we had never been able to do before. So I actually had a few conversations with devotees after we launched the first the poster a few days ago, and there's a lot of enthusiasm in setting plans and setting goals to do better this year. So I'm looking forward to the campaign, and the devotees in Africa really are as well.
Very interesting. It's just hearing the thought process that you're going through. And again, it's the point of discussion. If we didn't have the goal, there would be nothing to discuss. So, once the goal is there, it energizes and the discussions start taking place. And in those discussions, we say, how do we do this? And if you're going to build a skyscraper building, you have to start discussing it. It happens by the sound vibration. And Prabhupada mentions this in the second canto of the Bhagavatam. That's how all the necessary paraphernalia comes together, is through the discussion. We manifest through our speech. So now we have one of the most prolific on all fronts here in North America. We have Nandini Kishori. Thank you so much for all you're doing, Tirumala. Mataji, it's just amazing and very heartening. And thank you for getting the whole continent energized there in Africa. And let's hear from Nandini Kishori, who's tenacity personified when it comes to spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. We're just lucky we have her on our team. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. It's all because of your blessings. And I'm contemplating if Alachua should do 125 sets for Bhadra Purnima or 500. 125th anniversary, or we should go for much more. What do you think, Maharaj? With your blessings, anything can happen.
Yeah, I think a lot can be done in Alachua because there's so many devotees there. It's really a universe unto itself. And I think a broad-based marketing campaign within the Alachua community could be something we could look at. I think it would be nice if we could experiment with that and make a specific campaign just for Alachua and see what the effects are, because that would show us a way forward in the future of, micro campaigns suited for different. What do you think, Anukul Seva Prabhu, is this idea?
Yes, Maharaj, we can definitely work on localizing the campaign based on the community and figuring out what works for the demographic there and creating a buzz. So that's definitely a service we can work together on and hash out.
In that case, I think, you can look higher. It's really possible in Alachua. But the first thought that comes to my mind is what it would make of Alachua to hit a big goal like that, a higher goal. Please say more.
It will take every devotee to give their blessings, because there are so many devotees who have started different yatras, and if everybody comes together, brainstorms, then we can do it. There's Mahatma Prabhu, there's Gopa Patni, there's Divyanga Prabhu, so many, and some people alone have distributed million books. Nartaka Gopal Prabhu, Adi Karta Prabhu. Sky is the limit. And with your blessings and every Vaishnava on the call.
Okay, so we'll, as Damodar Smarnan would say, we'll circle back and talk to you about branding on a local basis as an experiment for Alachua, because it would be nice to see what would happen on a big level. Gopal Champa Prabhu wants to have a billboard in Alachua. So, we'll look at this. I think it's a good way to go because we need internal and external organization. Now let's show a few more slides because there's a few more nuances to this. So there it is again. Indelible now. It's been accepted. We'll have lots of paraphernalia to distribute. I still have my go to Goloka button on my bead bag. I still have my wristband from the last marathon. And so we'll be showering these down into the ISKCON communities all around the world to make sure that everybody gets them. I don't know, maybe we need some in different languages too. I know we could do it in katakana, right? Mohini Murti, we can translate these. So lots of branding paraphernalia. So make sure you distribute it widely, and it makes a good excuse and a good way to get visibility in your community. We'll be getting that out soon. How soon will we be getting these out to everybody?
By next month, Maharaj, is what we're hoping.
Okay.
To start shipping them out globally.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see the next slide. And of course, just as last year, giving people a step-by-step guide of how they can participate. So like people, when they hear about this, they'll say, well, what can I do? Number one, get at least one set for yourself. Number two, gift at least one set. Number three, sponsor at least one set. Number four, give referrals for at least 5 worthy recipients. Malini, do you want to say anything more about this? Because I remember when we drew these things up, there was a lot of thought that went into it. To say how it helps and you know what's in it.
I think it helps a lot for those who cannot. I'm going from the bottom up, Prabhu. So giving at least 5 referrals. I know somebody that I spoke last year and said that I already have a set and I already distributed one. But what I can do is I cannot speak to somebody, but I can give you 5 referrals. So we spoke to those 5 referrals, and out of the 5, 2 or 3 took the Bhagavatam set. So all these levels actually gives an opportunity for everyone to participate, and we don't leave anybody behind. I think that was the thought process for me.
Yeah, and actually having a paint by the numbers approach. Tell people, you know, what can you do? SKP, please tell us.
Prabhu, the referrals concept is always works. Like as you mentioned, mavens, right? When we go to a community, one time we distributed to a doctor, and every home we knocked that door. We told our doctor took it. We would like to take the Srimad-Bhagavatam. So as soon as we tell her name, everybody took it. Probably in that community, we distributed maybe 20 or 25 sets. You know, just for 3 weeks like that. So I think the referrals always works. We just remember their name, write it down, and show to them. Okay, these are the people in the wider community we gave Bhagavatams. If you meet Sri Vaishnavas, we'll tell we gave it to Chinnajiyar Swami. If we like, you know, different parts of the cultures, you just tell just their name, Prabhu. If you have time, I'll tell one story, Prabhu. One time, one devotee came to our temple. He heard your lecture, and then you mentioned about Lohi Bazaar in Vrindavan. But just by hearing that name, he came after me. Oh, I grew up there. I want to sponsor for Srimad-Bhagavatam set. So these referrals are always good for Bhagavatams. Thank you.
Jai. So ask for referrals. And if you get somebody who's notable who takes a set of Bhagavatams, you can get a letter from them, or you can use their testimonial that they took one. That's how Prabhupada grew the library party back in the 70s that became so successful. Okay, a couple more slides. So next one is a list of the next steps. Number 1, set a goal for yourself. Everyone should have a personal goal, community goal, and continental goal. Depends on what your realm of influence is, but whatever it is, set a goal. And second is to get the sets. Get them in hand. Don't wait to think, oh, I'll get them later. Who knows? This could go so huge. You know, we could even, Krishna, you know, I hope this doesn't happen. We could run out. So get them early. And if you have them in your home, if you have them in your temple, if you have them in your car, you're going to distribute them, guaranteed. And if you don't have them, who knows, that time lapse, it's like Wi-Fi. You got to be close to it for it to work. 3, check-in. Bhaktivinoda Thakur Marathon is on July 10th. So we're going to have a check-in on July 10th. So it's not all the way to September 20th that we're going to, look at the goals. We want to see that we're at least halfway by July 10th. That's a big day for book distribution or culmination of book distribution campaigns. How many days is that, Kautakarnava? Between now and July 10th, approximately?
Around 100 days. Around 100 days.
100 days. So we've got 100 days now to shoot for this July 10th to check in, and under the protection and mercy of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we want to be well on our way to the 25,000. So keep that in mind. It's not just September 20th, it's July 10th, and we're going to have check-ins to see how everybody's doing. And number 4, the final event on Bhadra Purnima. That's where I'm going to have a big event, a worldwide event, that like we did last year, only we learned a lot of lessons last year. It's going to be even better. And that's coming up on September 20th. So those 2 dates, you can also tattoo on your arm, or at least the July 10th. Put that one on there also. Hey, all right, Prema's got it already. Put the July 10th on your, somebody can put it on your forehead. No, don't do it. Okay, get your resources at bhadracampaign.com. We're collecting all the information, the data that you need to be successful, to give it out to your community. And it's right there on bhadracampaign.com. And also make sure you're on the WhatsApp group and Telegram, so you can be in the conversation that's taking place and watch what's happening. Gaur Premanande, Haribo, Haribo. So we've launched, that's it. It's happening. And everything that happens now is counted towards the Bhadra campaign, September 20th, and also July 10th. We'll be all checking in to make sure that we're well on their way. So try to make a good showing for Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And then we'll go for the final stretch going up into September 20th. Let's see, are we going to mention anything about, let's see. Okay. Shamahini, let's see. Yeah, so any points you'd like to bring out, because we do have a few more minutes.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, we just want to encourage everybody, like you already said, to start taking their pledges and also to stay connected with the team, central team, so we can share resources, posters, and training. Many devotees who've done sets last year, well, they've organized their teams, are willing to train other devotees. They're willing to get on Zoom calls and show them how to do it. I also wanted, if you like, if you can also just highlight how it's not restricted to going out and how we've really used it during the pandemic, because I think we have many new teams who've joined on this year who may not have seen the distribution through the pandemic. So I just wanted to, if you like to touch on that.
Yes, it's true. In my travels and speaking to devotees in various places, I'm finding sometimes devotees say, oh, well, last year we couldn't do much because of the pandemic. And I said, what are you talking about? We had our biggest year ever worldwide. So I was just in Los Angeles, and Savas was astounded. He's the head of the BBT there in Los Angeles. And he was saying, we had our biggest year ever. And also the biggest first quarter in North America in a long time. He said the sales have been way up. So the pandemic has been good for book distribution. There's no obstacle for distribution because you can use the same sound vibration by phone, by Zoom call, and so forth. Use the technology. There is no hindrance because we can't walk out the door and mix in various ways. I want to mention also that, Bhagavatam sets are not just for Indians. They're for everybody. And some of the devotees, for instance, in Atlanta last year made great discoveries. Shastrakrit Prabhu has been a pioneer in this. He found that, for instance, in one demographic, the African American community, they're very, very into Bhagavatam. And they take dozens, hundreds of sets of Bhagavatams. We want to push that quota, that percentage higher, that innovate and find ways to get the Bhagavatams out to people who aren't already oriented towards the culture, and convince them that it's the most spiritual thing they can do to take it into their homes. So we want to increase on that side as well. It's very important.
Prabhu,
What else?
One more question I have is for communities whose it's first time joining the Bhadra campaign, could you please give us some guidelines on how we can set goals for communities?
Yes. Yes, this is a very important point. Goal setting is kind of a science. It's not willy-nilly. You don't just throw a number on a page, but do a little research ahead of time. Interview the devotees in your community. Don't take no for an answer, because some people you ask will say, no, we can't do anything because it's not possible. That's not an option. Part of our one of our principles is we assume that it can be done. That's called faith in Lord Chaitanya. We assume that it can be done. That's where you start. Then start measuring how you've done in previous years. You can get a baseline. If you can get that, it's very helpful. Like, okay, we've done this many before. And then look and see what are the possibilities based on the resources that we have. And then make a little stretch and write the number down and get consensus. So for instance, if we were to say, okay, this year we're going to distribute 100,000 Srimad-Bhagavatam sets, it would be so far, it'd be such an increase that it would be hard to sell this to everybody, right? So we did a lot of calculation and we came up with a stretch goal that's also smashable, and it's realistic. So, and it's time bound and so forth. So we call this a SMART goal. So that's a good way to set the goals, is think about it carefully. Don't just do a wishful thinking. Like, I hope we do, I hope we could do like 1 million, that'd be nice. A lot of stuff would be nice, but plan it. What else, Shamahini?
One last question I have is, I'm from a small temple and my community can barely do 5 sets. Should I even participate, because there's other centers who are doing 5,000 sets for Bhadra?
Yeah, birds fly in the sky as high as they're able, but the sky is unlimited. So the main point is to do what you can with what you have. It's not the number that's important. It's the sincere devotional effort that counts. I mean, we have Shastric evidence with Ramachandra and the little chipmunk or spider, or maybe there were a spider and a chipmunk, that they were helping to build the bridge to Lanka. And there was some conversation or a feeling that, well, maybe their contribution wasn't enough. But Ramachandra said the same thing, that is the basis of our campaign, which is that everything counts according to your capacity. It's not the number, it's the capacity. So do what you can according to your capacity, and it's as good as anybody else's contribution, because all the circumstances are different. Did that help, Shamahini?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you.
Spanish sets. Gopal Champu needs Spanish sets. Prema, where are all the Spanish sets? SKP said he can help you. Wow. SKP's a wheeler dealer. He's got Spanish sets. You name it. Ask him for anything. He'll take care of you.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, in Argentina, we have a lot of Srimad-Bhagavatam. We have to distribute, but yeah, we have as many as I think we can distribute.
Okay. I think that Gopal Champu Prabhu needs a air container for New York. Right, Gopal? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. For North America, we need this. I think
I think that could be a really key to success is moving the sets around the world to make sure that we have the right configuration of languages in the right places. So, like, maybe New York City could do like, over 100 or 200 or 500 sets as Spanish Bhagavatams. That could be a huge thing. We don't know where it's going to come from, but let's work on it. Good idea. Anukul Seva, what other things? Any last points?
No, I just want to ask the devotees to please join the groups on WhatsApp and Telegram. That way we can all stay connected. Also, if you're on social media, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're going to be active there. And our hashtag for the campaign is #GoToGoloka. So please, every set is a story. Please make posts, tag us. It keeps the buzz alive and keeps us all connected as one world team.
Yeah, I had to be informed about this last year, that as soon as I see something come out from this brand, I have to like and share it. So now I just do it automatically. So make sure whenever you see these things, like and share them so they get spread further. That's part of our campaign to spread it wider. How do they get on these other groups, the WhatsApp and the Telegram?
Mars, the link will be posted in the Zoom chat, and it's also going to be on our website.
Can everybody join those?
Everybody can.
Will everybody?
We want everyone.
Can everybody get on there, please? Okay. The rocket is taking off. The airplane's going to Goloka. We're all getting on board. Let's do this one more time. Not one more time. Let's do it many more times. Let's do this again this year for Srila Prabhupada all together. We're one team. No, the individual stuff will show up anyway. Krishna will make you famous because you're doing the right thing at the right time. But let's think in terms of overall goal and how to do it together. And I'm going to end with a special request. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dear Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Radha Govinda, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. If you so desire, please empower our global team so that for Bhadra Purnima Go to Goloka campaign, we can smash the goal of distributing at least 25,000 Srimad-Bhagavatam sets. May this please your lordships and expand the Sankirtan movement and send shockwaves throughout the world that the book distribution movement is alive and growing. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who supports or believes in this prayer in part or in whole, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare